Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're really getting into something fascinating. Functional connectivity in the brain. Basically how different parts talk to each other. We've got some great source material laying out the key questions. Our mission, as always, is to pull out the core ideas and give you a clear picture of why this matters in neuroscience. Ready to jump in?
Absolutely. Let's do it. So functional connectivity. What it really boils down to is the statistical likelihood that different brain areas will be active around the same time. It's less about the physical wires, the anatomical
Right,
connections.
not the actual structure itself.
Exactly. It's more about their activity levels rising and falling together. Think of it like maybe two musicians playing in sync across a stage. They're functionally connected through the music.
Okay, that helps. So how do we actually see this synchronization happening across the whole brain? fMRI is the main tool here, isn't it?
Yeah, fMRI, functional magnetic resonance imaging, is crucial. It works by tracking changes in blood flow. The idea is more active brain regions need more oxygenated blood.
Okay, so more blood flow equals more activity.
Precisely. And by watching these blood flow patterns across the entire brain over time, we can spot which areas tend to light up together. That pattern of coactivation tells us they're functionally connected. We're basically tracking energy use.
What kind of blows my mind, though, is that this happens even when we're not actively doing anything, just resting. That's the whole idea behind resting state networks, right?
You got it. Even when you're just spacing out, maybe daydreaming, certain brain regions keep chatting away in these coordinated patterns. These are the resting state networks. They sort of represent the brain's intrinsic baseline organization, its default settings, you could say.
And there are some famous ones, like the default mode network, DMN,
Huh.
and the salience network. What are their kind of main jobs?
Yeah, the DMN is often linked to internal thoughts, thinking about yourself, your past, future, mind wandering. The salience network, on the other hand, is more about detecting things that stand out, things that are important either internally or in the environment, and helping shift your attention. And those are just two of, well, quite a few networks we know about.
But these connections, they can't be static all the time. They must change based on what we're actually thinking or doing.
Oh, absolutely. Functional connectivity is incredibly dynamic. When you start a task, say reading this sentence, the connections between brain areas needed for reading might get stronger. Other connections, less relevant ones, might weaken. It's a constant reconfiguration.
Okay, now this connects to something really important I read in the sources, how these patterns look different in certain neurological conditions.
Yes, that's a really critical area of research. We've seen distinct, sort of altered functional connectivity patterns in conditions like autism spectrum disorder, schizophrenia, even after traumatic brain injury.
So differences in how brain regions are communicating, or maybe failing to communicate properly.
Potentially, yes. It suggests that disruptions in these large-scale brain networks might be part of the underlying mechanism for these conditions. It's a huge clue.
It sounds incredibly complex, though.
Mm.
Analyzing all that brain activity data must be a massive challenge.
It really is. You're dealing with vast amounts of data points across space and time. So researchers rely on pretty sophisticated statistical tools, things like graph theory, which helps us map and understand complex networks. It's essential.
Graph theory. Like mapping social networks, but for brain regions.
Kind of, yeah. Looking at nodes, regions, and edges, connections, and the overall network properties.
And the really exciting part, can these connectivity maps actually predict things about us? Like behavior or maybe even cognitive abilities, IQ.
That's definitely a frontier. There's growing evidence suggesting, yes, these patterns can hold predictive power for certain behaviors or cognitive traits, but it's still early days. These are often statistical correlations, not perfect predictions. A lot more research is needed.
Right, which brings us to limitations. We need to be careful here. What are the main caveats?
A big one is that fMRI measures blood flow, which is an indirect sign of brain cell activity. It's a great proxy, but it's not measuring neurons firing directly. So seeing two areas correlated doesn't automatically prove one is causing the activity and the other directly. Correlation isn't causation, as they say.
Makes sense. Okay, so wrapping up. Functional connectivity gives us this amazing window into the brain's dynamic communication. It shows the underlying organization, how it adapts for tasks, and where things might go awry in certain conditions.
Exactly. It's about understanding the brain as a network in constant conversation. And that really leads to a powerful thought, doesn't it? Imagine if we could truly understand these communication networks. How could that change how we diagnose neurological conditions? Could we develop treatments that specifically target or retune these connections, maybe even enhance learning? It's a really exciting prospect.